Good morning and welcome to the first National Association of Corporate Directors Three Rivers Chapter program for 2011. Our program is titled Importance of Reputation Risk. Before I introduce to you our expert panel, I would like to set the context for why we are here this morning. Think back, if you will, to the time when you were a child, and no doubt remembering being at a large family gathering when your mother might have scolded you for some aberrant behavior, threatening you with the phrase, "Do you want to get a reputation for that?" Well, guess what's happened? Your mom now works for the SEC, and she has found jobs for all of her aunts. From your left to right, first, the Honorable Cynthia Baldwin, General Counsel of Pennsylvania State University, a Director of Coppers Holdings, Chairman of the Association of Governing Boards of Colleges and Universities. Next to her, George Miles, Director of AIG, HFF Inc., Harley-Davidson, Wesco International, and EQT Corporation. William Hernandez, Director of Albemarle Corporation, Black Box Corporation, Eastman Kodak Company, and USG Corporation. And at the far end, George Long, Chief Governance Counsel and Corporate Secretary of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. Our program today is divided into 5 sections. The first 3 are informational and will center on the topics of value, stakeholders, and risk. We'll then move into the actionables and to demonstrate how everything works in a concert of a carefully choreographed and well-rehearsed case study.
Everything that you do in the company, market risk, financial risk, everything else, in the center of that is your reputation. That's how I view it on a corporate level and even on a personal level. At the end of the day, have to sit there with your legal counsel, go through both sides of this, surround the issue, and then at the end of the day make a business decision. That's right. And the business decision is, I've heard you, I need to go do it this way because it's the right thing. That's right. But that's the good thing about taking an issue and surrounding it with enough perspectives, especially the legal perspective. But one of the things that I know as a board member, it's a collective process. It's a team process. I come to that table with a certain set of life's experiences, and I look at that issue, and I understand everything from all the things that I've been involved with. Somebody else comes in. So I got to know, first of all the individuals who are that board members, how they're going to be dealing with what their strengths and their weaknesses are. They're going to. And one reason why I continue to push on diversity of boards is because if you get a bunch of folks who have the same life's experiences surrounding the issue, they're going to miss out. I mean, a good example of, I forget which company it was. It was, they were introducing a product that had negative connotations within the Hispanic community. Didn't have Hispanic on the board. So then nobody got it until they introduced the product and they realized they had a mistake. And their reputation got damaged because of that. So that's one reason why you gotta have, the collection of folks around that table looking at these issues is really, really important.
I agree totally with what both Georges said.
George Square.
It is, I think, different for each company, different for each industry. But when you look at metrics, so there will be no, I think, one metric that works for everyone. But for public companies, if you look at things like rating agencies and how they rate the company's debt, they take into account a history of how the company's performed and how they've performed against what they've told the street. So that would be something you could look to. You could look to investor expectations and how analysts treat the company, because if management has credibility over time, they will have credibility on the street, and you can look to that as somewhat of a proxy for a strong reputation. But industry by industry is going to change. In the financial services industry, I think it's sometimes a little easier because you do have credit risk metrics and operating risk metrics, and you can kind of go through. But I also think that there's sometimes a false certainty in metrics and numbers, and at the end of the day, what Bill said is true. It comes from the culture, it comes from the compliance programs and how an organization is structured, which all gets back to governance, and it gets back to how information is flowing between the board and management, and you can't reduce that to a metric.
Reputation is the way others see the company. That's the reputation. And then, excuse me, I got all choked up about this. Then we have to decide what it is that the board has to do to build that reputation and to protect the company's image, because that's what it's all about. I think that some people have even asked whether reputational risk is a board level issue. Well, folks, I think that's a no-brainer. It has an economic value. Of course, it's a board issue. I basically think that boards, both boards and management, probably separately and then together, should engage in what I call what-if exercises. What if this happened? How would we handle it? How would that impact us? And I think that that has to be done on a regular basis. So I would, if I'm looking at the metrics, I'm looking at operational metrics, I'm also looking at a lot of risk management.
But you have to watch, you don't have paralysis by analysis. You know, you don't try and quantify too many things. So again, it's a bit of an intangible, and I think in things like enterprise risk management, how you measure it, and then what is important to your reputation and discussing that in those kind of terms, and then as George said, when the crisis happens, how you reacted at that point in time, all those are things that you can measure, but they may be a little bit qualitative, not absolutely quantitative in terms of getting measures done beforehand. And obviously I think it's extremely important, and it's, you say whether it's a board level issue, without that it's a board level issue, and I think one of the issues that both management and the board have to be aware of as well, it's not just it's all intertwined. The reputation of the company is intertwined with the reputation of the board. And I think one of the things that what I've seen over the years at certain companies is not an appropriate vetting process of board members. You know, some companies get a board member who basically detracts from the reputation of the company because of their own either personal or business issues that happen away from the company. And I think it's all intertwined, and all those things need to be considered, and that also needs to be a metric that needs to be considered when you're looking to expand your board or replacing a board member.
Because directors should be concerned about the reputations of the company and their personal reputations, and the companies need to be concerned about their reputation and the board members' personal reputations, because you can damage each other.
Amen.
So I think they're both. Is reputational risk. And it wasn't even appearing on the list. And reputational risk came in front of IT risk, product risk, and risk due to fraud. So I think that we are looking at it a little differently, because now these are directors talking. And the interesting thing, though, about reputational risk is what you said, Bill. All these other things come into reputational risk.
Yeah.